Hello everyone, you're welcome again to this channel. This is People Arm and we're here to bring right information to you at the right time. In this particular video, I'll be talking about some eligibility requirement for EB2-NIW. And I'm going to be correcting some misconceptions I get from several people as regards the requirement for the EB2-NIW. There are several myths out there that people assume that EB2-NIW is strictly for people who have advanced degree. And because of that, those people who don't have advanced degree assume that it's not for them. Secondly, people also assume that except you have maybe a bachelor degree, that you can apply for EB2-NIW. That is also not true. So this particular video, I will be running through majorly on the requirement that you need if you don't have even a bachelor degree. What are the things that you have to do to meet the requirement for the EB2-NIW? So I'll be sharing my screen with you, and I hope you pay attention, right, into this. And if you have any question at all, then you can ask me the question at the end, right? So I'll be talking about the qualification summary of EB2-NIW. What are the requirements for the EB2-NIW? And you can check yourself, compare versus this today, and see whether you meet the requirement or not. But remember, the focus of this actually is for those who don't have an advanced degree. How do you prove yourself? Now, I want you to keep one thing in mind. There are like several steps that you take, right, for this whole process. And the part I'll be taking through you through today actually is about understanding the EB2-NIW, right? In my subsequent video, you will see me talk about different side of the EB2-NIW, the step that you take from beginning till you get your green card. But for today, we are spending our time on you understanding the EB2-NIW requirement itself, because if you don't understand, then there's actually nothing you can actually do about the whole application itself. So let's have a discussion in summary. So in summary, if you're applying for EB2-NIW, if you remember my subsequent video that I talked about you putting together your petition, right? You need to put together your petition. Now, in putting together your petition, there are like 4 major sections in your petition that are very important, that are critical to your application. One of them is the one I put at the top here, which I want you to take note of so that you don't get yourself lost like in every other thing. Yeah, so which I will talk about. Now, you need to focus on everything we have at the top here, right, and prove them. That is the first section that you have in your cover letter when you're putting it together. Now, the second part in the cover letter is this part, proving the prong 1. Then you prove the prong 2 and prove the prong 3. Now, those are majorly like 4 major sections that you have on your EB2-NIW petition, right? They're like other things you might have, your immigration, your flow. Then you'll see me talk about that in several of my videos, but I'm focusing on the 4 most important part based on the requirement by USCIS today. Now, so for the purpose of the conversation that we are having today, I'll be focusing majorly on this top side, right? Which means I won't talk about this down part today, not discussing about the prong 1, prong 2, or prong 3. Let's talk about the top side of this particular application. Now, in you proving, right, that you have advanced degree, USCIS gave us 3 options. I want you to keep these 3 options in mind. We're giving 3 options for us to prove that we have advanced degree or is US equivalent. There are 3 options that USCIS give us today. And I will just run through the first 2 of them because the purpose of this video is for the third one. Now, the first requirement that USCIS says we should do, and I want to remind you, please do not join them together. It is either you have one of them, or you have the second one, or you have the third one, right? Even if you have 3 of them, you don't have to prove the 3 of them. The moment you prove one of them, then you're fine. For the sake of this conversation, and for you to understand what I'm bringing to you, I will use a case study of an individual, right, in this case. So I'll use the 2 case studies. I'll use a case of an HR manager, right, who is specialized on HR, for example, for EB2-NIW. I will also be using a case of a data scientist. So I'll be using those 2 cases to give you as an example of how you document your case for the EB2-NIW. Now, let's take the case of the HR manager as an example. Now, if this individual have an advanced degree, right? You have an advanced degree. Now, which means you have master's or the person have PhD. Now, according to USCIS, the person have meet one of the requirements at the top. If this individual have an advanced degree, which is master degree or PhD, maybe the person study organizational psychology, or this person studied human resource at master's level, maybe the person study human resource and international relation, maybe the person even study maybe leadership, for example, as related to human resource management. Maybe this person have a master's in business administration. It can also qualify for the endeavor under human resource, as an example. This individual, because this individual has master's degree or PhD degree, then it means this individual do not need anything more for this top part. This person just need to come straight to prong 1 and prove prong 2 and prove prong 3. That is a case study for that individual. Imagine this person is the computer scientist I mentioned, which is the data scientist I mentioned. If this person have master's degree, maybe in any computer science related courses, as an example, in master's degree, now what it means is that this person can easily apply, right, for the EB2-NIW under the advanced degree category, and this person qualify. That is all about it, right? I've mentioned the first option. Now remember, the first option is if you have an advanced degree. An advanced degree here means that you have master's degree or PhD degree, which is the US equivalent of that. The purpose of talking about how you do educational credential evaluation, this is not the purpose of that video. You can watch that in my subsequent videos. It might be on your screen, or you go and check the playlist. You will find that there. Before I go further, I just want to advise you, yeah? Because you are committed to this particular journey and you are seeing this kind of a video being shared, I think it's just nice, right, for you to just subscribe to this channel or refer somebody to watch these videos, right? And click that like button and click that bell so that you can always get videos from us anytime we share content like this. Yeah, I think it's like let's have like a nice contract between both of us, right? Just click that button and let's take it over from there. So remember, I've talked about the first step, which is this person have master's degree or have the PhD equivalent. That is number 1. Now let's go to the second scenario of this person who is trying to put in for endeavor on human resource, on endeavor maybe as a data scientist, as an example. Imagine these individuals, they don't have master's degree, they don't have PhD degree, which is an EUS equivalent of that. And these people actually have the bachelor degree. In the case of the HR manager, maybe the person in his BSc, the person studied human resource management, as an example, or is equivalent, something related to human resource management, as an example, in bachelor degree, right? Or if this person I want to put in for data science, as an example, this person studied maybe computer science and engineering, or computer engineering, or information science, or information management as the bachelor degree. Now, for this purpose of the second option, imagine that they have only BSc degree, right? Now, because they only have the bachelor degree, then what they are going to do is that they need to prove that they have 5 years post-bachelor experience, right? Because both of them only have the bachelor degree. So this HR manager who studied maybe human resource at the basic bachelor level needs to get a letter from an employer that he or she has done 5 years post-BSc experience. If this person, for example, finished university, maybe at bachelor degree in 2015, now by 2024, this person has spent 9 years post-degree experience. So this person just needs to get letter from an employer that states that this person have worked for this number of years. Now, this person will just need to add this letter to the bachelor degree, and this person meet the requirement. Now, what it means is that, let me just tell you something. People also have this myth, and I'll be trying to deal with those myths. People assume that because you have master's degree, it means you have an advantage. No, you don't have an advantage. Now, if you have master's degree in human resource management and you document it, all the USCIS officer just come to do is that you have a master's degree or equivalent, and they mark you as you have this. They go straight to your prong 1. If the other person does not have a master's degree, and this person have a bachelor degree, and the person have letter from an employer that he or she also has done 5 years, what it means is that this person also meet the requirement of this category. Now, the second part, which means both of you in the essence, you are just the same. Now, this person has studied data science and does not have master's degree. However, this person, after his BSc degree in computer science, has also done more than 5 years work experience, and this person can get letter from the employer. What it means is that this individual is also the same as the person who have master's degree. So when I hear somebody say, I actually have master's degree, I think I qualify or be approved. No, it does not mean you'll be approved. What it means is that you meet the requirement of the advanced degree. That's what it means. You meet requirement for the advanced degree. And the requirements are two options, master's degree or PhD. Or the second one is that you have bachelor degree plus 5 years work experience. Now this is done. If you have either of these, you put it in your application, write something about it, put the evidences there, and you're good to go. Now you remember I said, for the purpose of this video, I'll be touching about what we call the exceptional ability. Now, the USCIS realized that it's not only having advanced degree that qualifies you to be an exceptional talent, because there are several people over the years, they found themselves in the workplace, they've contributed a lot of impact into the industry, and they've grown their career over time. And these people never went to maybe a university, or these people never even have an advanced degree. Now, does it mean they are not exceptional talents? The answer is no, because several of them are actually exceptional talents. So what USCIS tried to do is that the policy handbook now defined that if you don't have master's degree, you don't have the bachelor degree with 10 years work experience, then you can actually prove exceptional ability. Now, this exactly is the purpose of this particular video. So in the next few minutes, I'll be taking you through the details of the exceptional ability, right? And I'm sure you will find this very interesting, right? So let's move there. Now, USCIS defines something that we call exceptional ability. And you remember what I said earlier, the exceptional ability is only for those who do not have an advanced degree and don't have a bachelor degree with 5 years work experience to prove that. Now, which means that there's actually good news for you. Now, what USCIS now said is that for this category of people, imagine this HR manager that I just mentioned earlier. This person has been working for the past 10 years. This person got into an office, maybe as an HR admin, and this person have grown his or her career to the level of being a senior HR VP as an example. And this person never went to university to have a bachelor degree, or the person does not even have an advanced degree. And this person wants to apply for EB2-NIW. The good news is that you can actually apply for EB2-NIW. Now, what do? You will be applying, instead of advanced degree, you will be applying as somebody with exceptional ability. Now, who does USCIS define as people with exceptional ability? They are those people that meet up the requirements under this category. There are 6 requirements defined, 6 of them. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What USCIS says is that for you to prove that you have exceptional ability, you need to meet 3 out of these criteria, right? So it's called regulatory criteria. And USCIS says that if you can meet 3 of them, you are exactly the same as somebody who has BSc plus 5 years work experience. You are also the same as somebody who has master's degree. You are all equivalent. So which means in your application, right, the moment you can prove exceptional ability, you don't need anymore to prove advanced degree or bachelor degree plus 5 years work experience. I'm sure this really makes sense, and it's actually good news for several people, or maybe you have individuals who have done well for themselves, but they don't have an advanced degree. And I've seen few of them. They wait for so long because they are trying to complete their master's degree. And this set of people have actually had a long period of time of work experience. Don't be knocked out. There is actually a way out for you. So I'll be showing you videos. I'll be showing you in subsequent slides, right, on what you need to do and how do you prove these 6 of them. And you have to prove only 3 out of the 6. Now, number 1 is that you need to prove that you have an official academic record that shows that the beneficiary has a degree, diploma, certificate, and similar award from a college, university, school, or other institution of learning relating to the area of exceptional ability. Let me just tell you from experience, what it means is that if you look at what is put here, and I want to call a clause out for you that might really help you. Now, please take note of this. What this means is that if you go to a technical college, then you have gone to an institution of learning. If you have gone to a polytechnic, you have gone to another institution of learning, which means that if you have gone to some kind of boot camp, you have also gone to into an institution of learning. So which means that this category does not bind you to a university environment, right? And sometimes you might also go to some schools and you did not earn maybe a degree, but you got some certificate. For example, there are some times in which you go to maybe like Harvard for a certificate course as an example. This qualify on this particular category. What are the evidences that you need to have? And they are the ones that I put here. For example, you have record of your certification. For example, this HR person has a lot of certification as an example. That becomes an evidence under this category. This person, maybe you went to a polytechnic and you have an HND or an ND. It means that you meet requirement for this category, which is also fine. You went to a notable business school and you got some certificate from those schools, and you have done some projects that are really worthwhile, that are worthy of note. It means you meet requirements on this regulatory criteria. All you need here is that you need an official academic record that shows that you actually have a degree, or you have a diploma, certificate, or any other award from this institution of learning. If you can put this together and you can get yourself have record of the documentation of all this, maybe transcripts, depending on the kind of certification or certificate that you got from those institutions, then it means that you are very much good to go. Now, this is number one. So check yourself. Do you have this evidence? If you have this evidence, it means you are very good. Let's go to the second one. The second one says that you need an evidence in form of letters from your current or from former employers that shows that your beneficiary has 10 years of full work experience in the occupation in which you're actually seeking, right, the endorsement from. Now, what this one means, let me use the example again. This our HR manager and this our data scientist. So imagine this HR manager has worked with a company for like close to 10 years, over 10 years, or several companies, close to 10 years. What you need to do is that you get letter from whether HR manager or your direct supervisor, right, or CEO of the company that shows that you have worked in this company between this period and this period. Remember, stating the time you have spent in that company is critical to meeting this evidence too. Now, it's recommended, highly recommended, that this letter is on the company letterhead that shows the company address, that have the signature and the profile of whoever wrote the letter for you. Third one, I prefer, and it's also stated that please try to have the roles and responsibility that you have done during that period. Reason is you don't want to say you have 10 years experience, right, and you want to apply for an endeavor, and more than half of that experience, maybe you're a production manager, right, and you're trying to say you have 10 years work experience, for example, maybe as an HR manager, as an example. They are not related with each other. So it has to be in your field of endeavor. Now, remember I talked about stating the employment date, and lastly, you can attach your contract letter to this to prove that you have this experience. Now, ask yourself a question. Do you meet requirement for this second criteria? If you meet it, then that is good news for you. Now, let's go to the third category. The category is for people, right, who have license to practice the profession or certification for a particular profession or occupation. Now, you could see certification also prompt up here. Maybe an HR person, you have CIPM, you have HRPL, which is HR professional license, you have SHRM, you have this kind of certification. You can use that here as an example. Now, maybe you are the data scientist and you have some Microsoft certification that shows, or some trainings from a global company that shows that you have certificate enough for you to prove that you're an expert in this profession. This also works for you. So you can use your certification record, certificate, use your license record, and use a qualification that if your endeavor requires such kind of qualification, you can also put that here, and that is number 3. If you look at this, for example, you could also see that it means that several people actually qualify, because you can get certification if you have really done 10 years in a particular field of endeavor. Then you should, if you are really growing yourself, you should be able to have certification or licenses or enough qualification to show that, yes, you are actually worthy of note in that particular industry. So get any of these and you are good to go to prove yourself that you meet this particular requirement. So let's go to number 4, right? So on number 4 evidence, right, is talking about compensation, right? That means that, and the logic behind it is that if you are good enough and you have had a very good work experience in a particular field, then you would have been paid salary for doing that job. And the logic is that if you are being paid salary for doing that job, then you are considered to be an exceptional talent. So this evidence says that the beneficiary has commanded a salary or other remuneration for services that demonstrate exceptional ability. Now, some of the things you showed there, very simple, is that please attach your payslip. If you have your tax record, then attach your tax record. This is an evidence to show that you have done some jobs over time and you have been paid that particular job. If you have been working for the past 5 years, 10 years, for example, I would expect that please try to get payslip of your job role over time. Maybe get 2 per year that you have worked to show that continuously over time you have always been earning salary. Put your offer letter or letter of recommendation of promotion. If you have been promoted during that period, put a letter there of promotion to show that, yes, I've commanded salary, I've even grown on that role over time. Letter written by HR manager, the supervisor, or CEO of the company also work here. You could imagine maybe you never have an access to offer letter anymore. They can actually write a letter for you to also state that this was how much you were earning during the period in which you were with them. I would also prefer that you have this payslip available. It's like your primary evidence. Again, let it be on company letterhead, company address, signature, and profile of whoever signed that letter for you. If you can, let them also state that these were the jobs that you were doing during those periods, and you can just add that to your evidences. Now, if you can get all this together, right, you have sufficiently proven that you have commanded salary, right, for the work you've done. For some people who have done some work on a contract basis, attach your contract letter. And maybe somewhat, if you have maybe like invoicing, like payment or receipt payment, then you can also attach that. That's going to be like a very good one for you to demonstrate that you have been paid for the service. And those are the ways in which you prove yourself, right, for this evidence 4. So we can go straight like into the evidence 5. You could see that it's also very interesting. Now, what does evidence 5 talk about? Evidence 5 is about the evidence of your membership in professional association. If I want to use as an example this HR manager, right? This HR manager has a membership certificate or being a member of maybe HRCI, SHRM, Computer Association of Nigeria. I was mixing up like that with the data guy. For example, maybe CIPM as an example. So you just need to be a member of associations. There are also associations that are related to your field. You can also use them, right? Because there are some that are related to each other. They don't have to be exactly the same name. Like HR, it has to be everything about HR association. It could be association that are related to that. For example, leadership association might also be linked to that. So you need membership certificate of those association that shows your numbers and maybe your membership numbers and the likes. Maybe you also have an upgraded membership of that association. Maybe you're a fellow, you're a full member. You can also show that to show that You are not just a member of the association, you are also a prestigious member of the association. Now, some other things you can also show is email of communication, right, from the organization, right? Your back and forth communication, you can show that. Now, when you are documenting this, it's recommended that you put the importance of the organization. For example, whoever is reviewing your document might not even know the association at all, right? Don't assume everybody knows the association. I've seen somebody who got an RFE, right, and they asked a question about who is IE. Anybody today who is an engineer knows that IE is like one of the biggest and global organizations today, professional association today for electrical engineer. But the director asked the question, who is IE? Because you don't want him to go and be researching, right, to tell you who IE is all about. So IEEE, for example, what they are all about. So you need to write about the importance of organization and their impact over time. Possibly spend time to talk about the level of membership that they have and where you stand in that level of membership and significance of being a member at that level in that organization. Now, I always prefer look for some news about the association, right? Like look for that news, create a PDF of that file, add it to your evidence to talk about this is who this organization is all about and this is what they are doing. Second to the last, if there are some notable members of the association that are well respected in society, put them there, give example of 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, and also talk about them and say, so that it gives a lot of validation about how big this organization is. One of the biggest mistakes that people make is that because they know the organization, they assume everybody knows the organization. Because of that, they don't do detailed work to write a lot and provide enough information to USCIS on this number 5, which is the evidence of membership of the association. Last one, if you have done some work for the organization, maybe you have been an executive, or maybe you've written some article, you contributed some of their conferences as an example, you can also bring that up here and say that is one of your evidences of membership of professional association. Now let's go to the final one. Yeah, so you could see that this is really making sense. Now the final one here is this, and I've helped you out to give you some example because several people struggle to put this number 6 together to know what kind of evidences can I use for number 6. And from my experiences and experiences of others, and also reading some judgments by the AAO, I've seen some of these records as some of the validated example you can use to prove this evidence number 6, this criteria number 6, which is evidence of recognition of achievements or significant contribution to the industry or field by peers, governmental entities or professional or business organizations. So here I want to see, if you have done the work for like 10 years as an example, it means you must have been recognized for some jobs well done. So I try to put some examples here on some things you can look into. There might be some good evidences for you to gather that can help you here. Example of that is media work. Do you have your work in the media? Has there been any time in which you did an amazing job and it was captured in the media? Do a clipping of that media, write about it, why were you mentioned in the media? Now the second one is that you have written some articles in journals and they have been well cited. It's also your recognition, it's also like an achievement that you have in the industry. Now, have you won some award? Remember, this award must be based on merit, your contribution and excellence you have in the field. So when you are putting this award, you need to explain, why did you get the award? Why are you different from others? What are the criteria for the award? You want to put that here, briefly to explain why that award is very important in the industry. The next thing you can also use here is that, have you done some critical role over time? For example, maybe you grew your career to become like HR director and you have done some amazing work in an organization. A lot of reference can really help here. Your former CEO can write a letter for you describing the impactful work that you have done over time and put some measures to that, and you can reference that when you are describing criteria number 6. The other one is a peer review. Maybe there are conferences in which you have done peer review for. Get a letter from whoever is organizer and add that as an evidence for number 6. Maybe you have gotten government grant. Maybe your work is so innovative, so noble that government have shown interest in your work. You have gotten government grant or investor grant, for example, This shows that, yeah, that's a good recognition, by the way. So you want to put that in your application and get that together. I'll talk about letters. Get letters from people who are worthy of note in the industry, right? And lastly, if you have gotten some patent, some contract, or some work that you have done to advance the cause in the industry, you can also put that as an evidence here. So if you look at everything in summary, you will realize that I have been able to explain to you holistically, right, the evidences that you need to put together for you to be able to prove, right, that either you have an advanced degree or you have exceptional ability. Remember, once again, what we've talked about, it is all about, if I want to talk about the summary of your conversation, it's all about you proving an advanced degree, which you do in two ways. This number one, master's or PhD. Number two, bachelor plus 5 years experience. If you don't have this as an example, what do? You can prove exceptional ability, right, by proving 3 out of the 6 regulatory criteria. Please remember what I've told you earlier. Do not mix them together. The moment you have one, do not prove yourself for other category. Overall, I want to say thank you very much for listening, right? Remember what I've told you earlier. I want you to please click that like button, subscribe to this particular channel. If you have comments, if you have something that you want me to say or talk about, try to drop your question in the chat box and I'll be there to give you an answer to that. My name once again is Ola Diamonds. I'm the strategist. And if you need our support in any way, you feel like, oh, I think I need somebody to give me a guide, right, on how to put my application together, you can just drop us an email here, usgreencard@peoplearm.io. We also have a thriving community. If you want to join our community, we have close to 1,000 people in that community, learners like you that want to apply for the employment-based visa for the 10 years US green card. You can also join us. Drop us a mail. We'll drop you the link. You can also look at the link in the description box, and we'll always be there to support you. This is what we do at People Lab. We try to help you to achieve and live your dream as professionals, right, in developed countries. So guys, once again, have a lovely day and enjoy a very good time. And please share this with anybody. Share with your friends and drop a comment at any time. Have a lovely time. Yeah? Right? Peace out, guys. Bye.